Alright, we're going to take a look at Nyet, which is cd games Nyet. This is a Tetris clone that came out of the bulletin board system era. You can see it's copyright 1988, and it's freeware for MS-DOS. This also happens to be my first introduction with the game Tetris. This was designed by a disgruntled programmer who didn't like the commercial version of Tetris at the time. See, at that time, the version of Tetris that was out operated based on the PC cycles and not the system clock. Essentially what that means is that if you had a faster computer than the developer had, then the game was going to run that much faster. Or if you had a slower computer than the developer had, the game was going to run much slower. This posed a lot of problems for distribution. You guys who use DOSBox today, you're going to see this whenever you have to drop the cycles for a game. That's that number at the top. This is 3000 usually. Control F9 or something drops that. There are a few games that do that these days. Castle Wolfenstein is a good example. You got to drop the cycles for that. Well, anyway, so he designed this game entirely based on the idea that the system clock, I assume it's the system clock anyway, dictated the speed of the dropping of the items, of the blocks, so that regardless of how fast or slow your computer was, the game ran the same. What you're looking at now is run at the default settings for DOSBox. This is 3000 PC cycles, and it runs the same way I remember it running. Video test. There we go. So I think the only other thing worth looking at in this video is, just real quick, I'm going to take a look at the text file. You can see it right here. It's the second one in the directory, nyet.doc. So we're going to run that. Unfortunately, I don't have an editor installed yet that's worth beans. So I'm going to load it up in the quick QBasic compiler. So let's see. Nyet.doc. There we go. The inbuilt DOS edit was derived from QBasic anyway, so this works just fine. A lot of the top part is not worth looking at. He explains essentially how Tetris works, but the reason I want to load this up is right here he credits the original developer. And this is something interesting that I wanted to talk about. What I'm looking at is a second version of the game. He says the original game was called Tetris and renamed Nyet. And Nyet was what my dad played when we were kids, and how I remember it. But that original game must have been distributed on bulletin board systems at some point and is now just completely extinct. So that's another version of software that is just gone forever. So this is Nyet. It's incredibly small. Actually, let's see if I can get a file size. There you go. 31,000 bytes, 31K or so, 31.5K. So feel free to go give it a shot. If you're an MS-DOS fanatic like me, the other one on the internet somewhere, you might enjoy it. Anyways, this is Critical Failure. Thanks for watching.